Hi, this is Bob Martin. My company is the North American importer for Gryphax digital microscope cameras made by Jenoptik, Germany. In this quick start video, I'm going to show you what comes in the box and basic software installation and setup. So this is what the box looks like when you get it. It's a little bit of a puzzle, but not too much. This is the front of the box right here, where it has this Jenoptik color stripe. So this whole thing is a flap with a little magnetic catch down here. So you open this flap up, and when you do, you will see that there's the camera inside the main compartment of the box. That's all that's in there. And then if you turn the box around, you'll see there's this accessory slot here that contains the USB 3 cable, some safety instructions, and USB drive with the Gryphax installation software on it. In some models of the Gryphax cameras, there's about 12 different actual camera models in the series. Some of those come with a stage micrometer and some of them don't. So you may or may not also have a stage micrometer in this compartment here. So again, this is what my setup looks like. I've got a Leica MZ6 stereo microscope, and I've attached my Gryphax camera to it using the appropriate C-mount adapter. Just a word about C-mounts. It's very important that the C-mount adapter that you're using matches the sensor size in the camera, and also, of course, is the correct C-mount to fit the microscope that you're using. So you've got two considerations there. If you need help figuring out what C-mount would be needed for, any Gryphax camera, contact your local dealer and they will be happy to help you. The next thing we're going to need to do before we plug the camera into the computer is we need to install the software. The software comes on one of these thumb drives. It's found in the box as we showed you. So this thumb drive, it has a standard USB side on one end, and if you pull this end off here, you have a USB-C. So that makes it convenient to plug this thing into whatever computer USB port you have handy. So I'm going to plug this in and show you what happens. Okay, so we have four folders that pop up. We have documents, which you would find your user manual in there and that kind of thing, installation, tools, and some video tutorials over here. We're going to go to the installation folder, and we're going to look for, since I'm installing this on a Windows computer, I'm going to look for the USB 3 camera Win64. There's also install packages for Linux and up here for OS X, so it's multi-platform compatible, but some of the features found in the Windows version are not yet available for Linux and Mac. So I'm going to be installing the USB 3 camera for Windows. So we'll double click this. Let's see, explore your micro universe. Select your language, okay, next. I agree, next, next. It'll take it, I don't know, 10-20 seconds probably to install the software, so we'll just let it run. It's pretty quick. Okay, that's it. Finish. Okay, now that we have the software installed, the next step is to plug the camera into the computer. So we're just going to plug the USB 3 cable from the back of the camera into the computer. And if you look at the back of the camera, this is what it should look like. This green light should come on. This indicates that it's receiving power from the computer and everything is happy. While I'm here, I'll just show you this little black button that's hard to see underneath the power button. This black button is an on-off switch. If you needed to manually turn the camera on or off for whatever reason, here's where you can do it. You can turn it on or off. Normally, I don't bother with that. I just leave the camera plugged in, and when it's connected to the computer, it's receiving power and it's ready to go. But sometimes, if maybe the computer is set to shut down USB ports or something like that, when the computer goes to sleep, you might need to turn the camera back on when you wake the computer back up. So if you do, then here's the button right here. All right, so That's what that's supposed to look like. And this light will flash when the camera is actively sending a live signal to the computer. All right, so now it's time to launch our software. So we now have this Gryphax icon on our screen, Gryphax software. We're going to double click it and we're going to launch it. I've got a live image right here. This is my business card under my stereo microscope, so that's live. And I've got some tabs and some menus and things open. So I'm just going to show you some real basic setup to get you up and running in a hurry. For one thing, this is a white business card and this image looks a little blue, so let's take care of that first. I'm going to click this sun button here. If you hover over it, it'll say exposure. I'm going to click that. It's on auto exposure, which is fine. But here's a little eyedropper down here. It says gray balance. Other software will call that white balance. I'm going to bring it out here over my business card and over an area that should be white, and I'm just going to click it. And so that has corrected my color balance. At this point, I have an intensity control here. I can make the image a little brighter, a little darker, however I want that to look. I could go ahead and capture an image right here with this record button. By default, it's going to put images in my pictures folder. But while I have this open, I've got another folder that I created just called Gryphax Images, and so I'm going to select that and double click. And then, again, this is just for me. I don't like this busy file tree open, so I'm going to close it back. And if you click this tab, you have to click it several times. The first time expands it, the second time brings it back to how it was, and then the third time is going to get rid of it. So that's how I like for that to be. But yeah, I could go ahead and click record and I could grab this image. And when I do, it's going to put it in my thumbnail view up here. So that's very easy. But one thing that I'm noticing is that because I've got this on a stereo microscope, everything that I would see through the microscope is upside down and backwards. The camera's kind of set up for compound microscopes, so it's normally going to be correct if you put it on a compound microscope. But it's on a stereo microscope here, so I'm going to flip the image over. That's very easy to do. If you go to File, Preferences, Device Configuration, and then Rotation 180, and then click OK. There's a lot more setup you can do right there, but I'm going to save that for the next video. A couple of other things that I will just go ahead and show you while we're at it, though. I like to, over here in the exposure tab, I like to click Expert and turn the black point up a little bit. I usually turn it up to a 5. That just adds a little bit of extra contrast that's kind of subtle, but generally I like how that looks. And then I also usually come up here to the FX button and I'll sharpen the image, I don't know, maybe 10%, something like that, just to make the image a little more contrasty, a little more crisp. And that's really about it. So let's see, let's capture this image. You're ready now to capture still images or videos. This button here is for still images. This is for time lapse. This is for videos. So you can choose what you want to capture. And this slow-mo button is only for certain of the higher speed cameras. So I'm on still image mode. That's good. I want to capture that image. I'll click record right here. And again, I've captured my image and it pops up over here in thumbnails. So very quick and easy to get started. And for this video, I'm going to leave it at that. In the next video, I'm going to go into more detail about how to calibrate the computer, the software, and so you can measure and add scale bars and that kind of thing. So more of a more in-depth setup will be in the next video.